Hey Tubes, we're going to do a water pump kit renew on here on a 35 horsepower Mercury outboard motor. I've looked all over the internet on YouTube and everything. I couldn't find any kind of reference on how to do it. So me and my brother-in-law, we come out here, we figured it out, so we decided we're going to go ahead and make a video for you guys to maybe do it yourself, or if you have a friend that needs help doing one, we're going to go ahead and show you how to do it. Alright, you got a bolt right here that's hidden in between the fins on the motor, and then you have one identical to it, which is going to be kind of dark, kind of hard to see, but it's the same spot, opposite sides. Then you have a bolt down in there that takes off the power trim, and then there's another bolt right there that you got to take off. You get them 5 bolts out, and it should slide right off for you. Alright, now when you have your power trim thingamajig off, you got another bolt right up underneath there. That one right there. Alright, once you get that bolt taken out of the back, well, all your bolts taken out, you should be able to just kind of give it a little hit here and there, and it'll slide out. Now be real careful. Your exhaust is right there. You got a little rubber gasket that goes with it, and your drive shaft and your water line. Now be real careful when you pull it out. You do not want to warp or bend your drive shaft. And once it's out, you'll have your lower unit, and right here is your water pump, and that's what we're going to be replacing. Alright, you've got this far, so now you need to take an 11mm socket and get your bolts here off. You do not want to drop them down inside here anywhere, so be real careful. Alright, once you get these off, put them somewhere that you know they're going to be safe. Then you have this little gasket donut ring right here. Go ahead and pull it up. It's just a little rubber one, so. Then you have this little piece right here on your drive shaft. Pull it out. Pull this off. Now you got your gasket and this little thing that goes up here on the top and all your nuts. And then this here, you just give it a little wiggle, pull it out, and this is the top housing to your water pump. So go ahead and sit it somewhere it's not going to get any debris or anything in there like that. Right here is the impeller. This is the reason why I'm changing mine. I'll show you the new one real quick. Alright, if you look closely, this is the new one. This is the used one. The motor's been sitting for a while, so the rubber on the fins right here got completely dicked. So it won't push water like this in here will. So go ahead and check this. And if you're having any kind of water issues coming out of your water pump, this is probably what it is. So go ahead and get you a rebuilt kit, and here's your new one. So we're going to go ahead and install this real quick. Be back here in a second. Alright, since now you have your top water pump housing off, you've got to get the gaskets here. So go ahead and pull them off. See this gasket here, it was all just completely dicked completely. So now you have that off, you have to get this piece here. Now see, if you look down in here, right here, I don't know if the light's too good or not, you can see part of my what once was a fin on that impeller here. one of these damn things, probably that one now. I don't know. It goes to one of them. So there's part of the problem too. Now I need to get this out of here, and I have no clue how to do it. So get back to you here in a second. Alright, now since you've gotten that far, you got to get the bottom of your water pump housing off. You take a screwdriver and start prying it up like that. And then just slowly walk it up your drive shaft. Like this here, okay? As you're coming up right here, you notice that there's a gasket that goes on the bottom of it, like so. And there's a rubber O-ring that goes around there. Inspect everything, make sure it's still hooked to this. And then look down in here and make sure there's no pieces or parts that may fell off of your gasket or any dirt or anything like that. Just give it, a good look over. And then go ahead to proceed to put your new stuff on. Alright, I'm getting ready to put the new rubber O-ring around here, but you want to make sure, just use some petroleum jelly and go around just to make sure there's no dirt or anything like that that can mess it up. Once you get that on there, just pull it around, slide it until she pops into place. And take another little gob, you don't want to use too much, and just kind of go around the whole O-ring. Just like that, to make sure that it's completely coated with petroleum jelly to give it a good slide in there so it don't snag up, rip any little chunks in that or anything. So we're going to go ahead and get the gasket for it. And make sure, oh yeah, forgot, make sure you take a little bit of petroleum jelly here and slide it on the inside here, all the way around the bottom housing. That's just to ensure a good fit and a good slide down the drive shaft. And petroleum jelly is good because it's just like a marine gear oil. It's what would you call, like, waterproof a little bit. So make sure you get it in there real good. Make sure it's nice and lubed on there. So we're gonna go ahead and get the gasket and get her slid down. Alright, we made a mistake, so this is what you do. You got to put the gasket on first and make sure it seats down in there lined up with your holes there, and then put the O-ring back on. Like I said, this is my first time doing it, so I'll learn by my mistakes, and you just go by what I tell you, and you should be good. So go ahead and get your O-ring back on there without damaging it. See, now the gasket is underneath the O-ring. Go ahead and get you some more jelly there and slip it around it again just to be safe. Alright, now we have this. Let's go ahead and install it. You want to make sure that you don't hit nothing when you put it in here. Make sure that gasket's not touching anyway. What the hell's going on? Alright, and then just slide it down. Make sure your gasket's still where it's supposed to be, because you're getting ready to go over the stud bolts down here. So take it, line it up as good as you can. If it don't go, do not force it. Just slide it real easy. And then you get down to here where it needs to be forced a little bit. But you got to make sure that gasket isn't bound up or anything, which it looks good to me. You might need somebody to help you hold it. Get it shoved down in there as good as you can. And to me it looks like it's bedded in there pretty good. So there's the bottom half of the water pump. Let's work forward. Alright, now since you have your bottom of your water pump housing on there, you got to put the gaskets. It goes rubber, metal, rubber. So put your first rubber one on, which this is a cork board, but you got to put it on. Make sure it slides over the studs. That in there don't look like it's right. So if it's not right, pull it back out, turn it over. Slide it back over. Make sure you go over the studs. Be real careful when you're doing this and lay it into place. Now for the metal one, bring it down. Slide it over the pins too. Make sure it sits there in place. Now you got this other rubber one here. You slide over the studs. Now make sure you don't rip nothing, and slide it into place. And that's how you put the gaskets on. Alright, so now we're getting ready to put the impeller back into the top housing. What you want to do is get you some more lube jelly here and slap it in here. Make sure you coat it. Sorry about that, but make sure you coat it all the way through, like here. And take this, and the drive shaft spins clockwise. Take your impeller here, and if you can get it to turn, see if you can get it mashed down in there. It's kind of hard to do since it's new. Extremely hard to do since it's new. And get it mashed in there like that. So I turned it counterclockwise when I put it in to get your fins to go there like this. Alright. Alright, we got the impeller in there, so now you want to get some more lube here and do the inside of the impeller just like this. Make sure it's good and lubed up, right? As a matter of fact, you can take some of this here too, go around the bottom down here where your shear pin will sit. It'll be right there on this side here, and just lube that up real good. Okay, now it's time to put it on, so go ahead, make sure you do it real easy, slide it down until you get right here, and then you got to line it all back up. And forget to put the shear pin in like I just did, you got to pull it back up. So, okay, and pull it up like this. Then you take your shear pin. You got to find out where it goes. It sits right here in the drive shaft. Now, since you got that jelly stuff in there, it should hold pretty good. Now the only trouble is getting everything lined up to where the shear pin will go up inside the impeller. I think I had it back this way. Okay, now the shear pin is in between the drive shaft and the impeller. And you should be able to look right down here in the crack, which on the video you won't be able to see it. But as you spin, you should be able to see the impeller moving a little bit. So now that's all hooked up there. And go ahead and get your 3 bolts back on. Alright, now since you got the top of your water house, or water pump house on there, you got the water tube. Go ahead and slide it down. It goes right into the gasket that's down at the bottom down here. And right there, it's in. That's all you got to do to it. So don't force it. If it don't just slide right in there, don't force it. You got to work with it a little bit. So now that you've got that on, now you got to take this piece here, this little piece here, right? It's another donut gasket. Get you some more lube here. Just do a quick swipe in there to ensure that you get enough good sliding ability on there. Bring it over your drive shaft and squeeze it over there and press it down. Until you get down here to the top of the water pump housing. And just slide it down tight, just like that. But you don't want to slide it too tight to make sure that gasket don't slide in there and hit your impeller. So just make sure that you got a good tight fit. And that part right there, putting the water pump, is complete. Now, since you have all this put together, this little piece here fell out on mine. I don't know if it will on yours, but it's just basically like a gasket for the exhaust. It's a hard one, hard plastic, so you just slide it down in there and get it lined up. It just sits freely right there. Then you got this new one, which it's got a concaved end right here. This faces your exhaust pipe, which is right here on the motor. This is your exhaust pipe. So what you want to do is make sure you slide it down in here like so. Make sure it goes up underneath the water pump, top of the water pump housing. Then slide it down, press it to all 4 corners, and make sure it's fit in there nice and snug. Now, most likely you don't want to put no lube on this or anything like that, because it could start to smoke real bad or any sort of that. So let's just go ahead and slide it down in there. Basically a dirty fit. And we've got it in there and it's ready to rock. So now that the whole water pump and exhaust manifold and everything's down in here now, this whole bottom gear is done. So we're going to go ahead and get it slammed in there on the motor and see if it works. Alright, another little quick tip that we found out: when you're getting ready to install it in your motor, if you come up to a certain spot and it won't go no further, you can grab your flywheel and kind of shake it, or like turn it, just kind of turn it back and forth a little bit. And it could be your drive shaft's out of line, your water pump could be out of line, but if you get both your drive shaft and water line in line with where they're supposed to go and it still don't want to go, it could be your throttle adjuster right here, this little throttle pin. You go up to your throttle adjustment by your steering wheel there if you have one, but you go up to that and you move it back and forth, and these little splines will line up with the cable that's inside there, and it'll line up and it'll slide up in there real good. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to put lube on here. I might go ahead and do that just to be on the safe side. It's up to you if you really want to. Just so it slides in the pin a little bit easier, which the pin is right up inside this little hole. And it's kind of hard to see, but I've already put petroleum jelly around that to hold this little cup link that slides back and forth. Make sure you get, I don't know if you can see it real well or not, but it's right up here. It looks like maybe a 6-spline little female adapter. You take your male adapter and line the splines up and go up inside there and make sure it's hitting right. And if it's not, just take your throttle adjustment and move it back and forth, and that little spline will move and you can line it back up. I don't know if you can see it real well, but right there is what the problem is if it don't go in all the way. Alright, we're getting ready to install it now, and when we pulled it out, it had these little cup link things here, whatever they are. Go ahead and lube the crap out of your splines up here with this jelly, just to make sure you get a ensured fit. And plus this here's got to slide over these, so But take this, line your splines up, and if you noticed, the splines are bigger on one side, so go ahead and run them down in there like this until you hit bottom. Just like that. Wipe the rest of your goo off and use it here at the top. Okay. Now you have this one piece here. Looks like a little funnel. You want to turn it upside down so the funnel, the smaller part's up. Then run it. Just like that. Alright, if you noticed, it's not going back up in there. So go ahead and make sure that your throttle linkage right here is in the hole, first off. And then you can have your buddy or whatever move your throttle back and forth and see if it'll go. Okay, we're still getting stuck on something here. So I'm going to back it out a little bit and see if you can maybe see up in there. Maybe getting stuck on that water pipe up there too.
I think once it's that far, the water line in there.
Alright, once you get the bottom gear all back on there, it'll be kind of tough. It won't go maybe about 1/8 of an inch. It won't push up any more than 1/8 of an inch. You got to put your bolt in here and your two bottom bolts, which is one is right here and then one here under the power trim. Remember, it comes up here through the top to get your power trim off there, but there's a bolt underneath it. So tighten all them and the other bolt on the other side. Tighten them all up and it'll push it all together. And we're getting ready to start it and see if she's taking a leak. So, what? Well, yeah, everybody knows you got to have muffs for it. So make sure you got a set of these muffs. Don't run your motor that goes in the water that's water cooled. Don't run it on outside of the water without having the motor muffs or whatever the hell they're called. Alright, well, here goes nothing.